Hi everyone, I am Shan.
And I am Tam. This is the Real Talk Podcast.
On this podcast, we have some candid conversations between us about love, family, faith, relationships, parenting, work-life balance, and everything in between.
We hope that as you listen to these conversations where we share our stories, or thoughts, or fears, or hopes, or trials, and where we celebrate our successes, even the small ones, you will recognize that we are pretty much all the same.
We want to inspire you to overcome your own trials and recognize that we are never really alone, even when we think we are. We will tackle these topics from the perspective of how they impact our daily lives.
We invite you to not only listen, but interact with us and our guests as we have some real
talk. Real talk.
Real talk.
When we say real talk, we're being the most vulnerable and honest. We know that opening ourselves up in this space will lead to judgment from others, but we speak from our own experiences, feelings, and thoughts, and we recognize that not everyone is in the same place.
We leave everyone to take from our discussions what is worthwhile for them. We won't tolerate or encourage any bashing or incivility from anyone when it generates any discussion amongst our listeners.
So welcome again, Shan and Tam fam, to Real Talk. So today, Tam and I are going to talk about friendships, right? We're going to talk about authenticity in friendships, being able to be vulnerable with your friend, and being able to hold each other accountable. So join us as we dive into this conversation. So Tam.
Yes, my friend.
We'll talk about real friendship.
Yeah, talk about it. Yeah, let me hear what you have to say about this now.
Oh man, there's so much you can say about friendships and being real, right? And I always say, I find people nowadays, they tell you things that they think you want to hear. They're not real with telling you the truth, right? And you find to some friend is like, I've had friends that I haven't seen for years or probably not talked to every day. But when we do talk, it's like we'll pick up to when we talked the last time. And it's like you just go in the groove. You know, my one of my best friends, Peter in Jamaica, it's like you just go in the groove and you talk and it's like the same. I look at me and your relationship, we haven't known each other for long, but the connection and the bond that we share is so real, whereas I can be open to be vulnerable to say anything to you without feeling like you're going to judge me. Likewise, you can hold me accountable and say, no, Shan, that not really right, or you should have did that way there, you should have said that way there, and we bounce things off each other. And I think, what's the point of having a friend if you can't be real with each other?
Yeah, I everything that you have said, I totally agree with and echo, because I feel like when I look around at the people who I consider my friends, those are people that fit the bill of these factors. I can be honest with them. I can hold them accountable, or they can hold me accountable, right? As you mentioned. And there is no forced anything in it. It just flows and it's natural. Some of the people who I have as friends, I've known them since I was 11 or 12 years old. When I think about them, these are the things that manifest themselves in our relationships. Because you're right, like, what's the point of having a friend when you can't really be honest?
Real talk.
Real talk.
And it's interesting you said that, Tam, because I think it was in our book club or in another group, we were talking about friendships and the whole, I think you brought it up. You were talking about the relationship between Gail and Oprah.
Oh, yes.
And You remember we were talking about
Yes,
that, and you were saying that they've been able to maintain their friendship for so long. They spoke about it because it's not like Gail jealous of who Oprah is or is intimidated by Oprah's light. Likewise, Oprah doesn't want to be Gail. So they appreciate each other's giftings. They appreciate each other's purposes. And it's not like they're competing with each other.
Yes.
They appreciate each other for who they are. Right. And I think this is not only a friendship thing too, but general relationships. Right, general relationships. And I think too that speaks volumes for friendship, because it's not like your bad mind Tam for what you have, or your bad mind Shan for what you have. When you win, me win. Because you're my sister. When you hurt, I hurt. When you achieve something, I achieve something, and I feel good for you, right? And I think people just need to approach life like that. Like today for me, tomorrow for you. Why you gonna sit down and vex when your friend gets something or go ahead? No, you push your friend, you support your friend, because that's what friendship is. That's what friendship is, right? I was looking at some quotes by Dr. Miles Monroe, and he said that friendship is not a gift, but is the result of hard work. Right?
That's interesting.
Because it takes work, like any other relationship. It takes work, because you can't say you want a friend if you're not a friend. You can't want realness if you're not real.
Yeah, that is actually interesting, but because I never really thought that friendships should be hard work. You know what I mean? But as you're talking about it, it's true. Because I think by nature of who we are, sometimes like we try to avoid things, right? You know, really want to hurt nobody's feelings, you know, right? And that's good. That's you setting out to be a good person. But in the meantime as well, it is work to make sure that you and whoever that other individual is, like, you understand each other, right? You understand who that person is, and that person understands you. And that takes work, because sometimes you really have to sort through or sift through little, maybe what did they mean by this, or I wonder if, or you know what I mean? Especially if you don't, if you're just getting to know the person.
Yes.
So yeah, I remember quite vividly when, you and I were having that conversation about the Oprah and Gail thing. And it's one of the things too that you just touched on, when Oprah and Gail, they were talking about their friendship, and Oprah was like, I never wanted to be Gail. And Gail was saying, I never wanted to be Oprah. Right? She's like, I love her, but I don't want her life. Right? And it's you touched on that a little bit, and I think of it in terms of equality. Like, you cannot see people, you can't think so you're better than people, you know, no matter what you have. Real talk.
No, real talk. You have to humble yourself, because and that's something that you and I were talking about the other day, Tam. As quick as you can go up the ladder, you can't fall back down. So humble yourself, right? And I think sometimes people, when they feel like them reach, them have such a level of pride and arrogance, but you need to humble.
Yeah, absolutely. And that comes through in how you relate to people. And that can be a foundation in terms of the types of relationships that you build with people, because you have to see yourself as equals, right? We're all people, regardless of your status or what you have in life or what you own or whatever. We're all people. And that is something that, like, my mom has instilled in me, my parents, not just my mom, but when I think about her acts of service to people in general, it just really reinforces those teachings from my parents to say that don't think yourself better than nobody. regardless of whatever station you are in life, because at the core of us, we're all humans, and people just want to have somebody treat them with dignity and with respect. And I think when you approach people and relationships from there, there is the possibility to build such wonderful friendships, you know?
And the fact that you can empathize with people and be vulnerable with people about their situations, and it shows the human aspect of you, right? And the whole part of what you just said, Tam, acts of service, and you know, like getting down to people's levels. I thought, while you were speaking, I was thinking about even the first move that I did when I purchased my home. And you're established, Tam. You're out there. You have accomplished so much for yourself, you and your husband. But it didn't take anything for you to drop what you were doing that weekend and come help me clean my house, right? And help me with the move and do what you need to do to support me as your sister. And I was so thankful and grateful for that, amongst other things that we've supported each other with. I mean, you could have said, me not do that, me not go clean a house, me not go do that, you know what I mean? And real talk, you know, but you did what you had to do, and you've done it again and supported me. So I'm thinking that's what friendship is about.
Yeah.
That's what friendship is about.
You know, one of the things too that comes to my mind when I think about real friendships is a level of independence within the relationships, right? And independence in two ways. One, giving somebody the space and the independence for them to explore and have other relationships with other people, right?
No matter with this. My friend post on TikTok with this girl, and she said, "Listen to me. You need to block my best friend because one best friend she have." And I'm like, why you posting somebody? I just say, my best friend get jealous. Yeah, people get jealous when you have more than one friend and more than one friendships.
It's a real thing. Real talk. Jealousy. I've encountered that, like in my adult years. Like, I was friends with a couple people that I used to work with, and one of them literally was like, "You can't have lunch with her." Like, what? Are we in she's like, "Well, I want to have lunch with you." And I'm like, "Well, me no want to talk to you today. Talk to she." Right? Like, what is that? Yeah, but it's the nature of feelings, right?
Oh my
and the things
God.
that people experience. But yeah, I think that's important for you to give people their space.
Give people them space. Got people. Tam, you have your other friendships outside
And
of me.
you have your other friendships.
I have my other friendships outside of you. And it's not like, say, with me jealous, I say, boy, Tam, I spend too much time with that one day, no.
For what? For what? Sometimes I want them to talk to me.
Oh, please, never. But people are like that. People are like that.
Yeah, it's a real thing. So there's that aspect of it. And then the other aspect of the independence thing too is giving people the space to be themselves, like for you to really be yourself in the relationship, and you not trying to be somebody else or be like the other person, right? So that's the other piece of independence that I'm talking about. And I can tell you that one of the things that drew me to you outside of our kids connected, and we connected over the children, was that when we talked, it was like I was talking to myself. Yes, me never know said there was another me out there.
Somebody as Yadi, as you.
As Yadi as me. But think about it, like how many times we've like connected and we're either saying the same thing
or finish each other's sentence.
And I'm like, this is me and that's her. Like I'm not trying to be anybody else. And I find
Exactly.
that with my other relationships too, that I have friends who everybody is a different personality.
Real talk.
Real talk.
Right?
Yeah. And you appreciate people
And
for who they are.
appreciate them for who they are. And your friendship is crafted around who that person is. You know?
Yeah, it's I'm telling you, it's such a beautiful thing to have a friend. You know, we were in prayer meeting the other night and they were talking about accountability, and they mentioned it's such a blessing to have someone that you can be open with and talk with, and you know, that can hold you accountable and that you can pray with. I know, Tam, many days when I don't feel like praying and I am just so overwhelmed with whatever is going on, and you've stepped in as like you pray, or you know, likewise the same, and we hold each other up, and that's what friendship is about. Right? You carry each other burdens, you hold people out, each other accountable, and you be real.
Yeah.
There, in a makes sense, you say you're a friend or any relationship if you cannot be real. It doesn't make sense.
Especially when you're wrong.
You can be wrong and strong.
You can be wrong and strong, but I should still be able to tell you, or you should still be able to tell me, Tam, you shouldn't have said that, or you shouldn't have done that. No, but
in your head next time,
right? But it's true. Like I think about the people I have in my life and the people I call friends, and I don't want somebody who's not going to be able to tell me the truth. Like,
yeah, because you feel like you go up an eggshell around them
about who I am.
The truth. So that's foolishness,
right? And there's another thing you talked about really early on in the conversation: trust.
Yeah, that is a big one, you know, because you have some friend you just want to tell them your business. When next time come, then
you're fret. You're fret. You said, Lord, I wonder if they're gonna tell so, or
I'm telling you,
talk to today.
Right? So the alarm. Oh man.
No, but that has to be an important factor in any relationship. Trust, and you mentioned it too, vulnerability, right? And so for me, it's always about, okay, even while you're trying to build a relationship, you have to also be very observant, right?
Yeah. You have to be, and to look out for things, right?
Yeah, and really take note, because if you are trying to build something with somebody and they're open to like telling you everything what I know about somebody else who's supposed to be their real friend,
you have to watch that.
You got to watch that.
Real talk.
Real talk.
Yes.
Because likewise, if you are considered that good a friend, your business likely out there too.
Long time.
You know? So
yes,
yeah, that is something to watch. And just honesty, which I think we talked about, just being honest and being your authentic and true self, I feel is vitally important in any relationship.
And it's interesting because you did, I think you had mentioned that to me one time, that even there's different levels with friendships. So there are some people that you might feel comfortable to say certain things to, and some you might not be comfortable to say, depending on, you know, who your friends are, you know what they can handle, you know, certain things. So certain things you might be more inclined to say, not that you're keeping secrets, but certain things you'll be more inclined to say. Some things you might not be.
Yeah, definitely. That's true. I do that. I definitely do that. And it's a part of understanding who the person is, right?
Yes.
So like you said, you know what somebody can handle, and you're not lying to people. It's not like, but even if it is a secret, like there are some friends, even though they're your friends, you know that if you tell them a secret, it will go with them to their grave.
Yes.
But with somebody else, it might not. You know what I mean?
Not.
And it's not that that person isn't a friend to you. It's just they're a different type of friend. You know what I mean?
You just have to know who is who.
So there is something that I heard. I was watching a movie earlier this evening, actually. And there was a part in the movie where the narration was saying that, the pain that we suffer in our lives, like we know that it's for a reason, right? But one of the reasons that we can say that one of the benefits to feeling pain or to encountering pain is that you'll be able to recognize joy.
Oh.
When it comes, because it's so different.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, that's interesting.
That's interesting. And I think about that in relation to friendships that have come and gone.
Yes.
In my own life, that there are friendships that have ended in just not a good way, like you've had to dismantle those friendships or cut off those relationships. But it has made me appreciate the other relationships that I now have that are built, that I consider healthy and that are good. Right?
Yeah, because it brings you an element of joy.
Yeah. So I thought that was very interesting. I wanted to share that with you.
No, that is good. That's good. And there's just so much more we can talk about this topic of friendships and being real time and stuff. But the one thing that I would say to leave with the listeners, if you want to have a real friend, you have to also be a real friend.
Yes.
You can't expect to want something from someone and you're not doing that. You're not being that, right? So I can't want vulnerability from Tam if I'm going to be guarded. I can't want safety from Tam if I'm not also fostering that space of safety for her. So you have to give out what you want to receive as well.
Yes. Yeah. So true. That's such a beautiful note to end on. So, listeners, tell us your friendship factor.
Yes.
Or maybe a friendship story. Drop a comment on our platforms where you are listening to this podcast and give us your impressions or ideas about healthy and joyful friendships. Sam, until next time when we talk to you again on Real Talk, take care, stay safe, and be well.
A good one.
Bye.
Don't forget to visit Shan and Tam on all their social media websites. At Sisters Shan and Tam on Instagram, Shan Tam Lodge-Lee on Facebook, and check out their blogs at shanandtam.blogspot.com. Tune in again next time on Real Talk.